Hello, welcome to Me and My Golf. We're your coaches, Andy and Pierce. It's Monday, it is time for the Impact Show. It's all about you. Pierce, what are we talking about today?
Today, Andy, we're talking about the 5 biggest mistakes that we see beginner golfers make.
Yes, stay tuned to find out which one you're doing. Let's take charge of your game. So thanks for joining us here on the beautiful 16th at the Asprey. Now, we've had lots of great questions coming in this week, but we've had quite a few about beginners, so beginners who are starting the game. So we thought we'd do a video on the mistakes that we are seeing that golfers are constantly making, and not just beginners, so it could well help you if you've been playing for some time also. And this is going to range from irons right to through to the driver, Pierce,
yes,
as well.
It sure is, it sure is. And speaking of driver, Andy, May and MeandMyGolf.com has been all about hitting fairways with your driver, so make sure you go and check it out. We're really excited, lots of great content, the videos are doing really well, lots of good feedback, but go and check out the video series, especially on Find a Fairway. You'll love it.
Yes,
6-part video series.
One to watch, guys. Right, okay, so 5 mistakes that you guys are making. Let's kick off with mistake number 1, Pierce, the grip.
The grip. You know what, I mean, we are told to start, we've got to get these hands working as a unit. So interlocking, which a lot of great players do, is a very good way of obviously getting hands working as a unit. The problem that we have is, Andy, though, that when people focus on interlocking, they stress so hard about getting that interlock that they don't actually think about where the club is then placed into the hands. So what we call a deep interlock. So they will jam the fingers in like so, get it really deep there, very tight fit there, and then they'll close the hand on the club. And it just doesn't really help. So let's give you an example here. Some people will do with the club up in the air, so they get it all aligned, left hand goes on the club, and then they get this deep interlock, and then by the time they then close the hand on the club, it's very much into the palm up by the thumbs there on both hands. So then they get down here and they look at it and they go, well, that's out of shape. They may look at that and then they'll try and twist it, but they don't really get rid of the deep interlock. The other way that we see as well, they get into a golf posture, they've been working at their posture, and they put their left hand on, and then they, again, put the interlock in there first, and then close the hand on the club. And you can see it's like, well, that doesn't work. So we see it from all sorts of angles here. Very difficult to get the fluidity in the
often,
hands.
as you demonstrate, often with the palms sort of facing out away from you, like you demonstrated.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. When those palms are facing out there, it's not really, you've got to then do a lot of adjustments to get the hands where you want them. So the way that we do this is we go, well, if you can just sort of get yourself into posture, that's great. But if you have your arms sort of hanging down pretty much naturally in front of you, and get your palms facing each other, and then literally just bring the palms together. So then from there, you'd sort of split them down. Now, we would pretty much recommend to start with a lot of people, go in the baseball grip.
Yeah.
There's not a problem doing that, or even the overlap. The interlock is probably the third one that we would choose. So basically, if we were to go with, let's get myself lined up to hit the shot, and then from there, left hand is going to go on the golf club with my palm facing away from the target, and then my right palm I'm just going to bring in to match it like so. And then I can just close my hands on the golf club, and then for me, I do the overlap, so I'm just going to then put that little finger down on top from there.
So it's so different how you position the hands on, but it's going to save a lot of messing around later. So if you've been told that you need to start with the interlock first, then you are more than likely sort of doing the deep interlock, and then it causes problems and you may have to change it later. So go with these palms facing. It's a much better way to start.
Give yourself the best possible chance to develop a consistent golf swing. Okay, so I'm just going to go with this one here. So again, I'll get the lead hand on the golf club with the palm facing away from the target. I'm feeling as though it's a bit lower down in the fingers than the deep interlock. Right hand comes in like so, and then just close, and then I give it a little bit of that overlap on top. All right, feels good, feels nice and comfortable now. No, it's pretty solid.
Yeah, so there's a good chance that the grip actually works, isn't there?
Mistake number 2. Now, Andy, we see so many people saying, I've got to take the club back straight. Kind of makes sense in our minds, but in the golf swing, taking the club back straight is not going to help, is it? So what do we need to do?
Well, look, I think the important thing is that we hear this so many times, Pierce, and what this often causes, well, massive inconsistencies, but also huge slices. So golfers are trying to take the club back and through in a straight line, but also they're trying to keep the club face square to that line as well. Now, look, golf is played from side on, so because it's side on, the golf club travels on an arc around the body. So let's just show you the difference between the two there. So as I swing back now, the club you'll see will swing on an arc that goes up and around and moves in from that target line. But look at the club face also. The club face is opening in relation to that target line. So as I then swing down, the club moves back towards that target line. The club's closing, so hopefully you can return to a square position. Then from here now, as we swing through, the club's going to move in from that target line, but the club now is going to close to that target line. So we have this arc that the club moves around the body, but we also have this club face that opens and closes. And I think once golfers understand the concept, it's so much easier to produce the movements. And a golf swing that is more like this, which is what we see golfers trying to do, compared to a golf swing that we see more like this, it feels so much more natural and easy to swing like that as well. So understanding that concept is key.
Yeah, and especially with the driver as well. Maybe with putting we can go back pretty straight, but even with putting, a lot of people like an arc, but with the driver especially, it is a lot more rotary than they perhaps think. So let's see you hit a shot, and let's see if we can see this golf ball flying towards the target, and obviously your club head swinging on the arc around the body.
Okay, here we go.
Just like that.
So mistake number 3 is really understanding concept. And I think when it comes to irons, Piers, striking the golf ball solid is really key.
Yes.
But how many times do we hear golfers say, I didn't quite get underneath that one, and I hit the ground first, or thin the shot, or even top the shot. And when they start saying these things, getting underneath it, or you know, I didn't get that one airborne or whatever, then we start to think about their concept of what they're thinking about to try and hit the golf ball. So often it's wrong, isn't it?
Well, it is, and we see, you mentioned, obviously this is about beginners, but I've taught people, you've taught people who've been playing the game for 20 years who are still trying to get underneath it. And what it does, if we think about trying to get underneath the golf ball or trying to lift it, it makes sense that if you're trying to lift it and get underneath it, that you hit it from off your back foot. So if you stay on your back foot, you're going to get the ball up in the air if you're on a nice tee peg. But if you're on the ground, which you are with the iron, you're going to bottom out before the golf ball, hit big divots, or even hit the top of the ball, and then your brain goes, I didn't get underneath it as much, as they really sort of start falling back behind the golf ball. And it's just this vicious circle of trying to get underneath it is actually compounding and making the problem worse. So it's, as you said, it's all about having a poor concept.
So in terms of with an iron then, what are we trying to achieve to get this solid strike? What are we looking to do?
Okay, so what we're trying to achieve is we're trying to get the low point of the swing. So when the club is bottoming out at its lowest point, we want it after the golf ball with the iron. So if we can get the low point here after the golf ball, that means that the ball is struck, the club head continues to go down, takes a divot maybe with a lot of the best players, and then we swing through onto that lead side. So again, totally different to the concept of trying to lift it up into the air.
Definitely. So understanding that actually the club head, when we're hitting the golf ball, it is moving down. And if you're watching, if you ever watch the tour pros on TV, when you see them take a divot, the divot starts generally around the ball or just after the golf ball. So if we can understand that, then the loft is going to do the work. The loft is designed to get the ball up. We haven't got to try and help it.
Yes, correct.
So what can the guys do at home, Piers, to sort of get the feeling and just practice?
Change the concept, first of all, is the thing. And as you said, allow the loft of the club to do the work. But if you were just to have some practice swings and brush the grass, and when we're brushing the grass, you're looking to brush the grass after where the golf ball is, that tells you that your low point is then shifted to after the golf ball. Very, very simple. And it sounds too simple for a lot of people sometimes, but if your practice swings for a year were working on striking past the golf ball, you're going to strike it better, definitely.
Okay. Right, let's hit a shot then, Piers. Let's see if you can get a bit of grass after this golf ball.
Yeah, and a good thing as well, sometimes we work with people, is I'm actually going to focus here. So I'm actually going to look past the golf ball when I hit this one. That was a nice strike.
Very nice, yeah, and not too much turf there. It was on a tee, but you can see where he sort of bruised and brushed the grass after that tee there, and a pretty good shot.
And I worked really hard, almost shortened the swing a little bit as well to give the emphasis of making sure that I move through towards the target.
Okay.
Now in mistake number 4, this is not just done by beginner golfers. This is something that we see so many golfers do. It makes sense that you perhaps could do this to get a better shot, but keeping your head still or down, we have seen Andy has wrecked a lot of golfers.
It has.
It's injured golfers, and it actually doesn't really help, does it?
No, and do you know what? This is something that I think the majority of you watching this, your playing partners will have told you that you are lifting your head up too early, or there's too much movement of the head, you need to keep it down for longer, and it's just not the case. And people associate this with hitting bad shots. Oh, I lifted my head, and if I can keep my head still, I'm going to hit better shots. But from our experience as coaches, it doesn't work, and trying to keep things too still actually makes things worse.
I have actually had conversations with people, and they've said they've hit a shot and they lifted their head up, and I've actually videoed that shot and I've shown them, and their head has actually dropped 3 or 4 inches, or it's, you know, it's actually gone back the other way, so it's done exactly the opposite of what they think, but they've worked so hard at keeping it still or down, it's actually affecting them. So Andy, how does it affect? How does it affect you?
This is the problem. What happens is, look, in the golf swing we are looking to make a really good wind up and rotation. Now to do this, look at the head straight away there. The head has rotated in the backswing, which is absolutely fine. It should not stay still. Now, same on the way down, we are looking to shift weight and rotate on the way down. So you can see through impact here, my head is already starting to rotate, and as I swing through, I want that head to move this way. So we really want to be able to create that rotation of the body. Now, if I focus on keeping the head still on the backswing, keep it still, I cannot rotate the torso. You can see there, I'm sort of stuck, Pierce, almost.
Yeah.
So I'm limiting power, but if I, on the way down now, if I try and keep the head still on the way down, then I'm again limiting the rotation of the body on the way through, limiting power, making it very difficult to get a consistent strike, especially with the irons with that. But again, very difficult to be consistent, keeping this head down for long. And I see some of the guys that I coach, they'll hit a shot, keep their head down, and then they'll try and find the golf ball. You know, we want to actually allow that head to follow that golf ball and see the majority of the flight. And I think when golfers realise that and take the emphasis off their head, they definitely play better golf.
Okay, so I think on this shot you're just going to hit a shot naturally, aren't you? And look, 2 of the best ball strikers the game has ever seen, who both actually happen to be Swedish. So Henrik Stenson and Erica Sorenstam definitely rotate the head a lot through the hitting area.
So yeah, I'm just going to allow my eyes to really follow the flight of the golf ball on this one, and just it just creates freedom in that golf swing.
Yeah,
again,
nice.
You can see I finished nicely balanced on the lead side there. I saw the whole of that flight, and it just, like I say, creates that freedom, and definitely will improve your golf. Right, Pierce, 4 great ones so far. The 5th final mistake that golfers are making. Talk us through it.
Okay, so ball position. So I think a lot of golfers, when they get into it, they obviously find out about the setup and the basics, and they understand that with the driver that we would want the ball position further forward in the stance. Now the biggest problem is when we put the ball inside the lead heel like so, it feels odd where your body is positioned. So we see a lot of people reach for the golf ball. It sounds a weird way of saying it, but they reach for the golf ball with their head and with their spine angle, because now when I'm looking down that golf ball, everything looks in perspective almost to me when I'm about to hit it. But as we can see, what's it done to my body? It's caused a whole lot of problem for my upper body. So you can see my shoulders are pointing well to the left. My spine is tilted towards the target. We can see that the weight is very aggressively onto my lead side. Now, when you do all of those 3 things there, the club, when it approaches the golf ball, is going to be hitting downward. It's going to be a steep angle into the golf ball. Now, for the driver, ideally, we want to be hitting up on the golf ball. We're on a tee peg. If we hit up when the ball's on a tee peg, we can get more distance.
Definitely. So also with the shoulders open as well, Pierce, how does that influence the swing?
So yeah, I mean, it can make the swing, the club head swing too much to the left. So when it's coming down steep, it's also swinging to the left. And then generally we'll see smothered shots into the hay over there, or big high slices.
Big high slices. So just getting the body position in the right place can make a massive difference to the attack angle.
Huge.
But also the path that you're swinging on.
Huge.
So what are we looking to do? How can the guys at home take a tip from this?
So we've got to, we've actually got to get the spine angle and the head tilted more this way so we can square up the alignment of our body. So a little bit of a drill here for you to do. So if you actually get feet together with the ball positioned in the middle of the feet, I'm going to leave my left foot where it is. I'm just going to move my right foot to the side. Now from here, my right hand I'm going to place on my trail leg. We call this the K-bomb. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide down my hand down my leg like so. So we've now created that K shape. And then from there, I'm going to bring my right hand into the golf club like so. Now we can see when I'm doing this, my spine is now tilted away from the target. My head is more behind the golf ball. And I've actually got a lot squarer position with my shoulders relative to my feet line. So they're running parallel to each other. Now, if you do this for the first time, you will feel as though you're well behind the golf ball. But that's fine. It's not on the ground. We want to be behind the golf ball to hit up on it.
Definitely, and it's so different feeling, like you say, Pierce, but it just gives you the best chance possible then to produce a good attack angle,
yes,
but also a good path to help you the golf ball a bit straighter.
Of course. All right,
okay, so
give it a go?
yeah, I want to see a good shot here. Last tip, Pierce, so we want a good shot to finish.
Okay, so feet together, I'm going to separate them. hand on the thigh, slide it down. I've now got the K-bomb. I'm now looking at the back of the golf ball. I'm going to launch this one high and hopefully pretty long.
And there we go. High launch, bit of a draw.
Nice.
And probably only 20 yards behind mine there, Piers. That's
Yes,
all.
whatever.
Okay, guys, hope that helps. Look, were you any one of those? Have you been working on any one of those? It'd be great to find out. Post your comments and questions down below and post a question for next week and we will choose a winner. Thanks for watching and we'll see you soon. So if you really want to improve your game, make sure you hit the subscribe button to see videos every week like this.
Yes, and if you want to see our previous video, click over here. And as we said in the video, Find a Fairway May video series, 6 parts. So go and check it out at the website down there. We know you're going to enjoy it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.